Hello, Irene here. Welcome to my channel, Irene's Paper Addiction. I'm super excited about today's video for several reasons. The first is because it's a collaboration with the very talented ladies over on the Crafty Concepts with Erin's team. We do a monthly collaboration and it's always a lot of fun to get together and just see how everyone interprets either the product or the layout that we are using. This month, the second reason I'm excited is because this month the collaboration is using new products from the annual catalog. This catalog is set to release on May 6th. As demonstrators, obviously, we got to pre-order some items, but only a small subset. So come May 6th, it opens up not only just to you, but also to us demonstrators, the other products that we got to look at but couldn't buy. So I'm very excited about that. Let me share with you some of the products that I did get for today's layout. And one of the items is the new in colors for 2025 to 2027. So the new colors that are being released are, this is Strawberry Slush, a really pretty pink. Then we have Timid Tiger, which is kind of a medium orange. Darling Duckling, super cute little name. Then we have this really nice light blue called Cloud Cover. And lastly, we have Secret Sea. I did pick up the stamped pads as well. And as you can see, there are only 4 stamp pads, but there are 5 in colors. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, they're having a problem with the formula for Cloud Cover, and it's just not coming out in the ink pads and the re-inkers the way they we're hoping for. So they're working on reformulating those, and hopefully that will get released here soon, because that is actually a really pretty color. Move those out of the way and bring in the paper pack that I am planning on using today. This paper pack is called Floral in Bloom. And obviously it's a lot of flowers, but it brings in all of the new in colors that are coming out in the new catalog. So let me just show you those really quick. So they're just really pretty greens, and you've got all the beautiful florals, and then always on the reverse side, you have more of the, subdued, like the B side. Right? So these are the supporting characters where the other side is the star. But what I really liked about this paper pack is that there were so many colors that were already available that work so well with these florals. Let me bring in the sheet. And you know how they list the colors that they coordinate on the back, but Bubble Bath and Cloud Cover and Darling Duckling, but they have Garden Green, Granny Apple Green, Peach Pie, Petunia Pop, Pretty in Pink, Shy Shamrock, Summer Splash. So these are a lot of colors that have been out for a while. So it's not like you need to buy the new colors to use this new paper. So let me bring in my photos that I want to, that I'm going to be scrapbooking today, and then show you the paper that I'm choosing to work with. So these pictures are super colorful. They're from the Chihuly Garden and Glass up in Seattle. And I think I have either 19 or 20 pictures that I'm actually going to scrapbook today. But they've got all these beautiful, vibrant colors, I think, that are going to go really well with this paper. And it was just such a fun studio, I guess they want to call it, to walk through. But the colors are amazing. They had some really great displays. They have a garden where they have these crazy abstract art, things that are growing out of the ground. I mean, to me, it looks very prehistoric. And then they have these like rowboats set up with all these great colors of, different color blown glass. But I think this one is truly my favorite, because if you look super close, you can actually see the Space Needle in the background, because Chihuly sits right underneath the Space Needle. And we had a beautiful day, so, which, could always be hit or miss in Seattle. So Let me show you the papers that I think I want to work with, because I think they would look really pretty. Move those ones out of the way real quick. And I'm thinking that I want to use, oh, where is it? Hang on just a quick moment. I'm thinking this is the one it's going to be, because I really like this one a lot. Problem is, I think the pattern is too large and the green is a little too strong. So I think I'm going to be using this one. And for whatever reason, I always seem to like the reverse side of the paper I want to use. So I'm going to be using this reverse side with this paper. So let me clear this all out, bring in my mats, and we can get started. Here are all the papers that I am planning on using in my layout. I'm actually going to build my layout on a piece of white cardstock. This is just actually inexpensive cardstock from Michaels, because I'm just going to use it as support for my layout. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is, one, you can save big pieces of your designer series paper, because that is expensive. So if you could cut it down into the smaller strips, you can use the other pieces either on the opposite side or on another layout. Another reason why I'm doing that is because, like I said, I like both sides of the same paper. And sometimes I start cutting into things and then realize I don't have enough. So let me bring in my sketch and I'll explain to you what I'm going to do. So this paper here is paper A. It could be the base. I have it listed as a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock. The strip is actually 2 inches wide on both sides. So what I'm going to do is cut 2-inch strips, so 2 by 12, so one for each side. And then I am going to use this paper from the Woven Textures. I had to think about the name of this one. The Woven Textures Designer Series paper pack. And I'm going to use that kind of as my neutral, and that is going to be my B. So I'm going to butt the 2 pieces up. So the B is 8 by 12, or yeah, 8 by 12. And then these are 2 and 2. So they come up for a total of 12. So I'm going to be using that opposite side for letter D. So that will be, I'm going to cut these strips down. You could run it all the way across, which, you know, I do have it listed as 11 by 6, but I would definitely do the 1-inch strip, and then this is a 2-inch strip. And then this one, I just did a 2-inch strip that I tore. And then my little letter C strips is going to be this pretty strawberry slush paper, and it's just a 1/4 inch. So what I want to do, I'm going to then kind of, you know, twist my layout so it's not exactly the same. So, and then we have a couple of embellishments and our big title up there. And let me clear this out. Let me cut all my papers down, and then I will be right back, and I will I'll start assembling the layout. I've cut down all my papers, and like I said, I am going to start building on a base of just a basic white cardstock. This is, like I said, from Michaels. I'm using the glue dots. These come from Amazon. They'll be linked in the description below, and they just help hold the paper in place. They're repositionable. They're not permanent, so they pull up really easy and don't ruin your paper. So you could actually use your DSP and not worry about it. So let's get that adhered down. Just helps keep everything from jumping around. And I inked up the edges of my paper with the strawberry slush. I just did the smaller pieces, the little 1/4 inch strips, as well as the smaller pieces. I did not ink up any of the florals or the woven textured paper. So I'm just going to build it up real simple. Just make sure I'm going in the right direction. Hate to put my paper down wrong. So these are just going to start on the edge. I'm going to build right up next to each other. That way it just looks like it's all very, very cohesive. So like I said, this is a 2-inch strip. I'm just lining it up with a 2-inch mark on my mat. And then this one is 8 inches wide. I'll get this one adhered down. And see, this is a great big piece. I mean, we saved 8 inches of your pattern paper. You can use it again, make cards on another layout. I am a really big fan. It's kind of like gutting out your paper. So I'm going to just butt this up to that one so you can see I'm at 2 and at the 10, and I'm going to lay my little strips over the top, so that's going to be hidden. Okay, those ones are going in the opposite direction. And then we're going to bring in this other 2-inch strip here on this side. And the white cardstock actually does help line things up so that you can come all the way to the edge. And then we're going to just take these little guys. But first I think I want to, this one I think is going to butt, let's see, put this one down. I'm going to butt this one up against this one. So we'll adhere down our little strip. And that helps just hide where the two pieces come together. Otherwise I would have inked those up as well, just for the dimension, but since they're not going to be seen, we're just going to lay this down over the top like that. And that just cleans that up. And we'll take this little guy, and he's just 1 inch wide. So instead of going all the way across, you're again saving paper. So this one I'm going to eyeball, but I'm going to try to line it up approximately with the 9-inch mark here on my mat. And then take this one, because this one will sit underneath, and we will lay this one down first, and then lay the strip over the top. And because I'm going to lay it over the top, I'm going to line up my paper here to the right edge, because anything else I can cover up with my little strip. So let's see, this is the one I wanted to use. I have one that is not quite as centered with the design, which I'm going to actually place down below so it's not quite in your line of sight, so you don't notice it as much, instead of recutting another one. So we're going to put this one over the top. And there you go. Already got the left side of the page taken care of. So I am going to put together the right side really quick off camera so you don't have to watch, and then come back, and then we'll lay down the photos. I'll show you how I'm going to bring in 19 or 20 pictures in this small layout, and also bring in my title and embellishments. I will be right back. I've adhered everything down, and I'm going to bring back in my sketch, and I think we're going to work on the title next. I'm going to make it real simple. I'm going to just use the name of Chihuly, and I use the alphabet a la mode dies to print out the title. So I'm just going to pick those little guys out here. Got a couple of embellishments there. And I'm thinking about putting it onto a coordinating piece just like this. And I'm gonna have the title up here in the corner. And I made the banner, because I'm gonna cut it as a banner. I cut it at 1 3/4 because these letters are 1.5 inches tall, so they're a pretty tall letter. I just wanted a little tiny border to go around them, and so I'm going to put those ones down here. And then for the coordinating banner, because I have it as a double banner, oops, spelt that wrong. Get the U in there. I'll glue those down off camera. They're a little fidgety, but all I use is the Barely Art glue with a nice little fine tip. I transfer mine into a little tiny bottle. Makes it easy for me. But I'm thinking for my second banner, one that's gonna, oopsies, pop underneath, I'm gonna go with the Timid Tiger. So I cut the title out of the Strawberry Slush to coordinate with it, and then I'm gonna do the Timid Tiger. So let me bring in my photos and show you pretty much what I'm thinking as far as laying them out. So on my sketch, I have 2 6x4s on the left, and then I stagger between a 3x3 and a 3x4 and then switch back and forth. So let's put the larger ones down over here. I want that to be my focal photo. I love that photo. I love the fact that you can see the Space Needle there. I thought that was kind of cool. So I like these really contrasty dark ones. So those ones I think I'm going to put together. So I'm going to put them in flip flaps. So I'm going to need 3 total there. And I think this will be my top one. I have my journaling. This one will also be a flip flap. So we're going to use a lot of them. Flip flaps come in 4x6 or can also be a 6x4. So they can either flip on the short side or on the long side. They also come in 3x3s, 4x4s, and 3x4s. So there's 4 different options. So we're going to put a 3x3. This is a 3x4. I think I want to stack up kind of the light colors or kind of the similar pictures together. So I think I'm going to put those 3 together. And we're going to put a 3x4 up here. And I'm going to have I think, let's see, I have 3 here. I think I need one more. I'm going to do a double 3x4 on the back side of there. But I think that one I want to use for that because the colors coordinate really well. And then we are going to put a 3x3. I love the colors in this one, so that's pretty cool. And I'm thinking, let's see, maybe this one here. And then all these crazy little ones that are looking like they're growing right out of the ground. I'm gonna put, let's see, let's do one of each color up here. And then this one can go, I think I'm gonna put that one over here and this one over here. And I have a couple of last ones. That one goes that way, and something like this. So I've got a lot of, going to be using a lot of flip flops. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 photos is going to be on this layout. So we're going to put these 2 here together in one flip flap underneath. So that is, I think, my photo arrangement. I had a couple little banners for down here. I'm going to cut these, but those are a banner die. Circle die. It has all these little tiny pin dots, and this one is called Stylish Shapes Dies. This is the first time I'm using it, so I'm kind of excited about that. So I'll trim those off and kind of slip those underneath. So they'll both be cut down right here. And then I did something I've never done before, and that was I stamped onto vellum. And though you can't see it too much, but once you put it up against white, it actually makes it pop. And I thought it kind of looked like, the glass. So these ones are from the Happy Hibiscus Stampin' Die set. I cut a bunch out in the Strawberry Slush, in the Darling Duckling, as well as the Timid Tiger. And I did, there's several different sizes, so I just did several of each size. So we're going to use those for our embellishment. I think we're going to have an embellishment cluster down here. Moved up a little bit more so we have a little bit room. Another small embellishment cluster over here, and then this one down here. These little ones, I will show you how I did these, but I just took a blending brush and then took the colors, the 3 colors, the Strawberry Slush, Timid, Tiger, and Darling Duckling, and I just ink blended right onto vellum. And then I used, let me see, which one did I use to punch? Oh, excuse me, these are from the Happy Hibiscus. So these ones are from the Textured Florals. Got myself turned around a little. So let me show you real quick how I did that. And they came out super cute, I thought. I'm just going to scooch this whole mat over and just bring in just a small piece and show you how I did that. So bring in a piece of scratch paper here. Make sure I'm on camera. And this is just a scrap piece of vellum. I like to print my titles on vellum or my journaling on vellum, and I always end up with these odd little pieces. So this is a great use of them. So I'm just using some blending brushes. These are ones I bought on Amazon, and I just blended away, and I purposely mixed the colors onto the vellum so that I had some spots that just kind of blended and created kind of a new color. So I'm going to start off with some Strawberry Slush. Put those over here out of the way. And I just tapped off. I didn't want to start with too much color. It picks it up really well. It does take a little while to dry, but as long as you don't go too heavy, it actually dries pretty quick. The ones that I stamped, the ones that are from the Textured Florals, the larger ones, those did take a lot longer to dry. So just beware if you're going to do that. It does take a little bit of time. So and then I'm going to come up here and bring the Timid Tiger in. And I'm going to bring that one down, and then I'm going to put the Darling Duckling in the middle and then just try to blend them together. But it stays a little wet, so you have time to move it around. It doesn't dry really, really quick. And so you get a little bit too much in one spot, you can actually just keep working it down, and then you don't have any super heavy lines. And then let me just bring in a little Darling Duckling and show you how it all blends together really nicely. I tap off just so I don't come on with too much to begin with. And then I'm going to blend right up into that orange and down into the Strawberry Slush, into the pink. And I'm hoping for just a nice transition, which kind of makes, you know, blends the two colors together, and it just kind of creates, you know, that nice blended effect. And then I just punched out, ran them through my die cut machine, and I thought they made cute little embellishments. So let me bring up just a little bit more up here. There you go. And then what I think I'm going to do once this dries, I'm going to set it aside. I might try using the, to make some kind of like the baubles, like these big round circular shapes. I'm just going to use a circle punch. I'm going to give this a couple minutes to dry. And then cut those out and see, let's see how that comes out. And we're going to use those or not. So just want to bring in a little bit of the pink, a little Strawberry Slush in the end up here, and then we'll set that aside and give it a moment to dry, and then we'll punch those out. So let me bring that in a little closer for you to look at. I don't know if you can see, you can actually see my fingerprints on there. I'm going to have to come back. See, it does take a while to dry. So you probably want to just leave it down until it's all done. I'm going to just come back and move that around a little bit and just try to clean that up so that we could use this for embellishments. So, all right. Perfect. So let me put this aside. I'm going to clean this up real quick. And then I want to just adhere down my title real fast. I don't think you need to watch me do that. I'm just going to glue that down real quick, and then we'll come back and start building up all the embellishments. I will be right back. I adhered down all of my photos and flip flaps, and let me tell you, that was a little bit of a job trying to get this all balanced, because once you get them down, you got to be really careful trying to pull them up because they stick really, really well. So I have a couple. This one is going to flip left. The smaller 3x3s will flip up. You can see how many photos are there. I'm going to be cutting slits in my page protectors just so that I could feed those through instead of adhering them straight onto my page protector, which is also an option. And then here on the left page, I flipped one left and then I flipped one right. I've got my title all glued down. Let me bring in a pair of scissors and let's cut the dovetail for this one because I want to dovetail both of them. I think I'm going to bring this a little bit shorter and just make a narrow dovetail. I'm going to take my piece of, for my title, which is, I think it was 1 3/4. So that's good math, half. So I'm going to cut it, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to cut it right in, oopsies, right in between these two to get me about center. You wouldn't be able to tell I actually do math for a living in my regular job. So let me cut that in. I think that is a little off, but that's okay. We're going to come in from the corner towards the center, and that will give us our little dovetail like that. And then I am going to be bringing in some of that strawberry slush. Grab my ink blending tool. I want to ink blend that dovetail we just cut. And this is just, I think they're Tim Holtz or Ranger. And they're just a little tool, and then the sponge. And the sponges you can buy in bulk. I have one for each color. They're rather inexpensive. I'm going to lay that a little bit off camera there so that I can cut down the Timid Tiger one, and then we can ink blend that one as well. So I just want to measure just a bit because it's a little longer than I need. And I'm thinking right about there. So let's clear that out. And then do the same. This one is only 1.5 inches, which makes the math a little easier. That's 3/4. And we're just gonna do exactly the same. We're gonna cut in from each corner, and then I want to ink this one up real quick as well, because I like that definition that the inking on the edges gives. So there we go, clean that up just a touch. Alrighty. Let me grab my Timid Tiger and have some extra blending tools. And these are just the little sponges, so they just Velcro right on. And we're going to get that inked up quickly. So when you ink, the amount of ink you get on there, one has to do with how inky your blending tool is, how much ink you get on there. Sometimes it has to do with how inky your ink pad is, but it also has to do with how much you lean onto the paper. So the smaller angle is going to get more ink onto the paper than if you go more like at a 90-degree angle. So we'll get this one all inked up. You can go direct to your ink pad, but I think that's a little rough on the ink pad, so I prefer to do it this way. And that one is going to go below with that one on top. Let's clear this out of the way. And let's bring in that piece of vellum that I had set aside to dry. And what I think I want to do with this is I'm going to just shift this over for a second. I'm going to bring in my little die cutting machine. These little flowers floating everywhere. And I am going to take some of the circle dies, which are from that Stylish Shapes that we used to cut the little tiny banners down there. And I thought I liked the circles because it tied in with so many of the circles that they had there at the glass garden. So I'm gonna lay these down. I'm gonna try to get in as many as I can in case I want to cut a couple extra. I do cut on a magic mat, which I get, I think it's a scrapbook.com. I like it, yeah, definitely scrapbook.com right there. I like them better than cutting onto the plastic. I don't know, just works better for me. You do have to make sure though, because it is longer, that I keep my white plate, my base plate underneath. I'll get these lined up a little better. And that way you will cut the entire image, otherwise it doesn't cut all the way through, but you can sometimes recut. So I really enjoy this little tiny die cut machine because I can keep it right here close on my desk, opposed to my large one, though that's not that far away. So let's pull that out. And oops, get those off my mat here real quick. And then we can see how those came out. So you can see, especially on this one, how we have the different colors. They blend together. Each of the little tiny ones. And then here where the Darling Duckling and the Timid Tiger blend together. So I think those are going to look cute. Let's clear this away and start bringing in our embellishments. Slide this back into place. So at the same time, I cut out some white circles just in case, the same die set, in case we want to pop those on top. They do make the color pop a little bit more. So I'm going to put those right here. I do have all of the little flowers that I cut out earlier. One more circle. And then we have a bunch of hibiscus here. So, or the textured floral, excuse me. So I'm thinking maybe to bring in maybe a tag that I can tuck underneath. I'm going to grab a tag die. I don't have a lot of room to come around. I can't put anything on top because that would keep this from lifting up. So let me go grab a tag die, cut out a couple of tags for here and possibly up here as well for the other embellishment cluster. I'll be right back. I pulled out my favorite tag die set. This one I got off of Amazon. I'll link it in the description below. This one possibly too, but I'm not quite sure. But I use this one all the time. I love the stitching. It's got some great size assortments. I use them all the time. So I cut out numerous tags so we can use them for our embellishments. So let me clear these out real quick. And what I'm thinking is to bring in some of the tags and some of those, you know, orbs along with some of the flowers. So let me see what I have here. I have, I cut Timid Tiger and Strawberry Slush. And my thought is, since it's going to flip to the right, I'm going to build up, and even if it goes into my picture a little bit, that is okay because it won't impede the flipping of the flap. So I could also tuck some underneath. Let me bring in something here, a little tool. I didn't adhere that picture down completely on this side, so that in case I wanted to do a little embellishment underneath. And I really like the way these bubbles or orbs or whatever you want to call them came out. Let's see, what we can do with this. I'm thinking three orbs. Let me get that underneath the white to there. And then maybe a few of the flowers as well. And those can, like I said, can overlap onto the picture without that being an issue, I think, whatsoever. And then maybe just bring in one of the little ones in the Timid Tiger. Something like that. I also have the little tiny plumeria flowers. So let's grab a couple of those. Maybe we can put a few onto the tags. They kind of blend in, so maybe onto the white we can even bring them up a little bit. I don't know, we'll see. That might be overkill, but let's just leave those there for a moment, and then we can always come back to it. Let's work on that tag up there. I have a piece of the Timid Tiger, a larger one, and the smaller in the Darling Duckling. These I can trim down, and then we can grab some scissors. They seem to be hiding from me all evening. So since I don't really have anything to tuck them into, I'm going to try to cut them so that they kind of line up. Maybe I can just tuck them underneath just a tiny bit. So I'm thinking, I'm just going to little mark with my nail and see if we can, actually, I'm going to try to score it a little bit. And that way we can get an idea exactly which way we're going to go. So I just put in a score line. I'm going to cut right on there. And then we're going to tuck it in just a little bit. I think we'll be able to lift that strip up just enough. Let me bring in my tool. This is an old, close to my heart, old Creative Memories tool for like moving stickers around. I've had that one in my stash for quite a long time. It might be better if I bring in a little pencil and do a little mark right there and right there. And then we'll just cut across on that one. And tuck that one underneath. I think that's going to look cute. Alrighty, let's bring in a couple of those little orbs. I can add, I have a couple extra from my, had an extra little piece, so I cut out one or two more just so that we had a couple more to play with. I'm not liking that. Let's see, should we lay it on top? Nope. I think it needs to come from behind. We have a little bit more room back there. Maybe bring one like that. And then maybe we don't even need the third. Let's bring in some flowers and see if that will work well. I think I like that better. Maybe just one of the orange ones. Slip that underneath. I'm going to adhere the vellum down to the white. And I don't think you're going to see the glue. I'm just going to do a little dot of glue. And I'm thinking something along those lines, something like that. I think that looks pretty cute. You want to tuck that. We just don't want it to affect that flip flap from going up and down. Let's see. I need one more hand just to hold all this stuff down. So something along that line. And then I have this little tiny embellishment cluster here. And I was thinking I would like to stamp a sentiment. Let me see what I have that would work. Found this little sentiment I wanted to use, which is just enjoy. And that is from the Tags to Go set, as is the little die right there. And I was thinking I'm going to put it down here. And then bring in one more of those circles, the last one that I had, just to make, bring them to all 3 embellishments, and then just 1 flower. So I'm liking the way that looks. I am going to adhere everything down. I want to add a little bit of bling. I think we're going to not use our little plumeria flowers, which is a shame because I thought they came out so cute, but another layout. So let me adhere this all down. This will just take me a moment, and then we can add our bling. All of my embellishments are adhered down. I kept a couple off just to show you how I popped them up. For the flowers, what I did was I just took a little bit of the Barely Art glue, just put a little dollop right there in the center, and then layered the 2 pieces together. Can't see the glue. I think that worked out really well. And because I have not a lot of dimension, but I have dimension over here, when I went to lay down my flowers, they truly did not lay flat. Now, I didn't want to pop everything up, just certain parts, so that like this part will lay flat here, but then the little dimensional will drop down below. And these dimensionals are just ones I bought off of Amazon. They're the thin 3D foam squares, and they're super, super thin. That's why I chose to use them. I didn't want too much bulk. So I'm just going to add this one here so that I can get that down there. And then this little yellow one, I'm gonna lay right on top like that. I'm gonna be bringing in some bling. I have these Strawberry Slush and Pretty Pink Gems. These are new, and I don't know if you can see, but they've got a lot of nice little sparkle in them. And I'm just going to use my pick tool just to remove them off of here. And I just want to add some gems onto the holes of my tag so that those are not, naked. So I didn't have any thread or yarn that I thought would look cute. So I thought I would add those. Let's add one over here. I think I'm going to go with a little bit of a smaller one on this one, like that, and then just a couple more up there, again using the smaller ones. We could even sprinkle a few around the clusters as well. So why don't we maybe pick up some of these larger, darker pink ones. Let's see, let's do it over here. Maybe one down there. And we can add one right here. Oopsies. Having a little technical difficulty there. One there. And let's see, maybe a couple on this side as well. I like using the different size ones. I think that looks pretty. Maybe right there. And I would like to add just a couple up here as well. I think we'll go with the small ones since the cluster is pretty small. Let's see. Just to finish off the layout, we'll just put three clustered together, just like that. I'm happy with that. So let me show you real quick all our little flip flaps. We've got the, what did I say, 1920 photos on here. This way, again, this one's going to flip right, one's going to flip left. We've got our title, and I think it came out pretty nice. I'm really proud of my sketch, and I think it actually looks very, very similar. So very, very excited to share that with you. In fact, if you're interested in getting a copy of my sketch, if you'd like to leave a comment down below. I'm going to lift this up just so that you can see some of the embellishments and some of the sparkle. Yeah, leave me a comment in the down below, and then shoot me an email, and I will email you off a PDF of this of my sketch for you to use as my gift for you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed this this video today. I had a good time, like I said, putting together the sketch and doing the collaboration. I will link the playlist for that down below, as well as all the products that I did use in this this layout. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.